So before I start this video, I would like to thank Paxuthelia. He is the one who shared this chart with me, so the video credit goes to him. So guys, right before you is the chart with all the god powers in retold and with all the playable civilizations like Greek, Egyptians, Norse and these Atlanteans. So this chart is very important if you want to play the game competitively. You're more focused in multiplayer because of this new feature which was given in Retold where the god powers are reusable. And now once that happened, there's tons of mathematics going behind this and in order to balance things. So we can see cooldown, basic cost, repeat cost. Now each god power has been given a certain amount of cooldown, then they have a cost, and there is also repeat cost, which means if you reuse it, there will be an addition to the basic cost. So after looking at the chart, I do have a tactic in my mind which can be used in the multiplayer, or it might already be used, which I will share with you guys at the end of the video. So not only this chart helps you to understand the cooldown, the cost and the repeat cost, but it actually gives you a very general idea about how the developers see and rank the god powers. We start with Greeks, and the cooldown for Bolt is 90 seconds. The basic cost is 75, and of all the god powers in the Archaic Age, 75 is the highest for any god power. And there are only two god powers with 75 mana cost, and that is the Prosperity and the Bolt. And honestly, Prosperity in the mid to late game has a way higher value than a Bolt. There is also repeat cost, which you can see the Prosperity has plus 10 and only 5 on Bolt. Also, the cooldown for Prosperity is 30 seconds more than Bolt, which clearly shows that it is a better god power. So like this, they have really balanced it pretty well. They know the worth and the value and how the powers scale in the late game. Another thing to look into the Archaic Age is the Vision god power, and it has a 240 seconds cooldown. If you see, only Mythic god powers have such a great amount of cooldown. It's not like there is a god power which is spammable the moment you get the mana. No, there is cooldown also working. So even if you have 75 favor, you will not be able to use vision before 240 seconds. So I really appreciate how deeply they have looked into this thing, and they have balanced the god powers pretty well. Okay, so let's move on to the classical age, and now we have seen how this is working, so we'll take less time and I will quickly just see the cost and the cooldowns and if they are justified or not. So there is 120 seconds of cooldown for Pestilence and Restoration, which is fine. 180 for Ceasefire because it is a pretty game-changing god power. And moving on to the Egyptian Plague of Serpents having 180 seconds cooldown. Yes, it's pretty cheap, 60, even lesser than Bolt and Prosperity. But there is a great cooldown. The reason might be because this god power, like you can cast it on an enemy gold mine or a tree line, and it can really hurt the economy like that. So maybe for that reason, because the cost is cheap. So this is the classical and heroic age combo god powers, Eclipse and Ancestors. And the moment Egyptian reaches heroic age, they come in with a few Mythionids and a few Slingers, and they cast Eclipse and Ancestors at the same time, which gives the mummies raising from the Ancestors an attack boost, and that is what Eclipse does. So this is the one I wanted to discuss, Forest Fire. So 180 seconds cooldown, similar to Ceasefire. I've seen many a times Forest Fire are doing literally nothing, not hurting eco, not killing a single villager. But when I gave it a thought, I understand why it has such a great cooldown. of 3 minutes. And the reason is, if you burn the 2 wood lines near the enemy base, basically you are forcing them to collect wood from outside, and which is not safe at all. And probably for that very reason there is 3 minutes of cooldown on the forest fire, so that you do not burn all the forest around the enemy base and they are lumber starving. Okay, there's undermine, nothing special. Spider, Valor, and Carnivora. You can see the basic cost is low. Also, the cooldown is low because this Valor is single cast. Carnivora, it's just a plant. You can easily counter this. Spider Layers has some cooldown. Okay, so now all we can do is rank the god powers uh, to see how the developers see it. So, Ceasefire, Plague of Serpent, and Forest Fire are the most feared in Classical Age, according to this. Although we know Restoration and Eclipse, even Shifting Sands, has been used very creatively. While you can see the Classical Age god power, there is two economical, 3 economical god powers here. This is the 4th and the 5th one. There's Spy and 1 aggressive, 1 defensive. So here the nature has changed in Classical Age. It is not at all economical actually. There's not a single god power which is aiding your economy. And now the heroic, same cooldown, cost 200 on Underworld Passage. Locust Swarm, very devastating. There's a decent cooldown. There is your Flaming Weapons, the Walking Woods, and the Frost. They are pretty costly. Norse god powers are the costliest actually in the Heroic Age. They have a massive cooldown as well. Knowing how crazy good they are, I've seen people rushing Heroic Age and pushing the town center with Walking Woods and actually destroying it. So first time we see Atlantean god powers being a little tweaked here with big cooldowns on these two, although the cost is almost negligible. Now coming on to the Mythic Age, there's Earthquake, Plentyvolt, and Lightning Storm. They have same cost on Earthquake and Lightning Storm, the Plentyvolt. So the change to Plentyvolt is that the first one is certainly free, but there is 200 plus repeat cost, which means you are going to pay 400 favor for the third Plentyvolt. Also, the Son of Osiris has a 50 repeat cost, and the basic cost is pretty damn high as well. The Tornado and the Meteor are having the same cost, nothing different there. Ragnarok is the highest favor god power. Like the costliest one here is Ragnarok. It is the most fearsome god power. This is the one god power which can end the game. So there's no other god power which can actually completely destroy you except Ragnarok. It has a 300 seconds cooldown, which means 5 minutes of cooldown. Any other god power having 300 seconds of cooldown? None. Only Ragnarok. And the Tartarian Gate, given the same cost for the Mythic Age god powers. Although Implode, very low cooldown on Implode. So once we have understood how the power is working in Archaic Age and the cooldown cost and repeat cost, there's nothing more to it. It all comes down to the strategies. But now, there could be a tactic where you completely ignore the myth units and save all your favor for the god powers. And maybe with some of the god powers it can be done. Although there is cooldown to prevent that, but we might see something like this happening. So this is all for the video, guys. Thanks for watching, and do let me know in the comments about what you think about the god powers. Do you like the changes, and how excited you for playing Retold once again when it releases in September.